necessary or sufficient to have a significant effect or to achieve a result. This is critical mass.
Hello, fellow human beings on our precious planet Earth. This is Pamela Tartar, and my show is Critical Mass. And today we're on United We Strike Radio Marathon. I trust you've had a good month since last we were together and are enjoying spring breaking through wherever you are. I know it's still cold in some places, but in other places we're getting a little bit of warmth. And we're certainly seeing the signs of spring. Recently, I was interviewed by Michael Williams on his show, Sage of Quay, and I would invite you to listen to that discussion. It was a very good one. You can look it up on YouTube, Sage of Quay, Quay, and then my name, Pamela Tartar, and listen to that discussion. It was very good, and we hit a lot of topics. Michael asked me what we could do to help the paradigm shift happen. And I'd like to talk about that a bit today, what we can do to make the shift happen. And the first thing I would like to talk about has to do with ourselves. We have to make the shift in ourselves first. And then all of us making the shift inside of ourselves will cause the paradigm shift to happen. And then the second thing is to reclaim the power that we have through choices, how important choices are and how it does mature us. It helps us to develop and gain our power, true power. So let's start with how we make the shift. It's my awareness that most human beings do not feel supported in their life and supported in what's going on in their lives. Their routines and their schedules are very hectic, and the support just isn't there. And even if it were there, most people don't have the time to take advantage of it. Well, we must have support, because if we have support, that gives us the strength to make good choices and live out those choices. So what I would like to encourage you to do is, on your way through your life, daily life, to be aware of nature. And I know if you live in a city, that's kind of difficult to do, but you still have trees and you still have plants and you still have little four-legged ones and birds. And if you watch nature, you will feel supported by it, because we are connected to all other parts of biological life. We are not connected to concrete buildings. We are not connected to these systems that use us as resources to fuel the system that is coming back at us in a negative way. So we must get support from nature. We absolutely must. And as we feel that support and as we acknowledge other parts of nature, it will help us move toward our own true nature, which is my message. My message is that we must return to our true nature, because the way we are surviving right now is through everything that is against our nature. So coming back to our nature will definitely help us make that paradigm shift. So on your way to work, on your way in the morning out to the car, or on your way driving out of the driveway, look at the grass, look at the trees, look at the plants, the flowers that are growing if you've got some coming up. If you're lucky enough to have a garden, take a look at that and really recognize that. Recognize that tree and the fact that the leaves are greener today and the fact that they're bigger because they're growing, they're opening up, they're in their process in nature. They're experiencing the natural order. And when you see that acknowledgement does something inside of you that says, yes, I'm a part of that. And we need to be a part. We need to be connected to other parts of the natural order. That gives us the support. Like, for instance, when you're having a family reunion and you just feel so happy and you feel connected and you feel accepted and you feel part of the bigger group. That's what we're missing. One of the things we're missing right now is that we're not part of our natural group. Yes, we're part of the team at work, but that whole team at work is running on a program. It isn't real. It isn't something that someone really cares about you. It's something that you're doing because that's what you have to do in order to make money and live. It is not part of your true nature. It's something we all need to do. We have to make a living, and we have to, we have to do what we have to do to live in our society. But we must add in nature. We've got to bring that back, and I know most of us can't make that true break from all the systems, but we have got to understand that we are part of an overall natural order, and when we are in our true nature, we feel that connection, and it's like a family reunion. It gives us support. It gives us a good foundation from which to unfold more in our nature. So I'd like for you to recall with me when you go to a natural place like maybe Yellowstone National Park or Rocky Mountain National Park or the Grand Canyon or somewhere where there's no buildings and there's no hustle and bustle, and you get to see nature. And when I arrive at Yellowstone, well, on my way there, I'm looking forward to it, and I can just feel it the closer we get. And when I arrive there, it's like I'm a little girl again, twirling around and feeling the air and just being free and experiencing the air there. It's just different. And I feel more at home there than I do in the city. And it's because I am more a part of the nature at Yellowstone Park than I am in the cities. I'm not a part of concrete buildings. I am not a part of the hustle and the bustle that we're just running around going places for silly reasons. Not to feed my spirit, not to connect with something that is actually a part of me. Going to the mall is not something that connects me in any way to the natural order. It's a substitute. It's something that's saying to me, this is really your life. But it isn't. It's pushing me toward a virtual life. My life, when I feel alive and when I feel connected, is when I'm in nature. And I know we can't all move into the woods and live out of a tent. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that we need to recognize that part of us is alive and that part of us needs support. And we can get it, but we have to look for it. And as we drive along, we can look at the creatures, like if you're near a farming area, or you can look at the cows and the horses. We're closer relatives to them than we are to the places that we go every day to do what it is we do. We're not connected to those things. We're made to feel that we are, but that's why we don't feel supported, because it's not part of our nature. But being aware of other parts of biological life shows us that we are alive, shows us that we are more than just a resource. We are part of something much bigger. And I know that when you're in the corporate world and you're going up the ladder and all of that, that you feel you have times when you do feel supported. But what are you being supported for? For coercing people to buy things that they really don't want, and for coercing them to have to go out and work harder and longer in order to pay for something that gives you your competition win, where 1,200 other people lost because they weren't as agile as you at coercing people. I mean, that's not natural. And it wears against us. It wears against our true nature to have to do that. So until we're able to change this whole paradigm and change the way we live over, we simply must add nature back into our lives. If it's just 30 minutes sitting out on the deck and appreciating the sun beating down on us and not having radios or TVs or computers or anything, just being silent with the sun, we must recognize the fact that we are part of the natural order. I know this sounds odd, but whatever we've been doing up to this point has not worked, so it's certainly worth it to give something else a try. And my something else is coming back to our true nature as human beings and part of the overall order of things that allows us to develop and unfold and mature in our nature, not against our nature, not trying to exist and do everything against who we truly are as amazing human beings. Now, as we find our place in the natural order, we'll naturally change the way we make choices. And a lot of us have been coerced by the system to not make choices. And then the choices that we are encouraged to make are virtual choices. They really don't matter, like voting for a president or voting for any office. We feel good about pulling that lever, but honestly, it does nothing. We haven't elected a president since Abraham Lincoln, and maybe before that. And so when we go there and we make our room in our schedules to go and do our duty and to make our choice, and we pull that lever and we get that little sticker, I voted, yay, I voted today. And we have absolutely nothing to do with whoever ends up in office. And yet we went through all of this and we feel very good about it. That is not real. That is a virtual choice that we made. It isn't real. And the more we're convinced to accept this virtual life rather than our real life, the further we get away from our true nature. So maturing into making choices is very important to us living a real life. Not the virtual life, but the real life. And once we connect with the plant life and the standing ones, the beautiful trees, and the four-leggeds and the winged ones, and all the other biological life forms, and realize that we are connected to them and they are connected to us, it's important to make good choices because our choices affect everything that happens. So when we understand that our choices are powerful, then we need to expend our energy making choices that actually do make a difference, like choosing whether or not to comply with something that goes against our nature. And of course, we all know that I'm against flying because of the TSA. And that's one of the things that I do. Of course, I'm on speaking to you from United We Strike Radio Marathon, and the 15th of the month is the day that we all strike. And we say, don't buy, don't comply, ask why. That's the slogan here. And that's what we need to use to make choices. And if it's something against our nature, we should definitely not comply with it. And so make a different choice. Make a different choice of where you shop. Make a different choice in who you associate with. If you're associating with a group that you don't feel safe around, or you don't feel like they understand you or they don't support you, but there's somebody you work with or somebody you're around and you're kind of familiar with, that doesn't mean that that's someone that you should hang out with. You know, if they are not pulling you more toward your true nature, then don't comply with that. Don't just go along with the crowd because it's what everyone else is doing. Make a good choice. Gather the criteria. Why am I doing this? Why am I going these places? Why am I with the people I'm with? That is a mature thing to do. Now, when we're children, we don't get to choose that. Our mothers make our play dates for us, and our parents take us where we meet people and that sort of thing. But when we're grown, we get to make our own choices about who we hang out with and who we associate with and where we go. And we should take that seriously because that is very powerful. The gift of choice is very powerful, but it comes with a responsibility because what I choose and what you choose makes a difference in your life. How we move through life is whether or not we learn anything, what it is that we learn, and whether or not we understand it and gain wisdom from it. And what I have been taught is, from my spirit self, is that we choose something correctly in agreement with our nature, and then we experience that. We live it. And in the living of that choice, we gain information and knowledge. From that knowledge, we look at it and we gain understanding. We understand what happened and why it happened, and whether or not we want to do something differently concerning that the next time we're in a similar situation. And then, if we can move on to wisdom, we learn how, when, where, and why, and with whom to use that information correctly. That's wisdom, and that is always ours. That will always come forward and serve you well, but we must make proper choices to begin with, mature choices. And for many of us, the systems have programmed us to not make choices, just to go along, just to kind of float along. And even though it feels uncomfortable, and even though the different parts of us are giving us warnings, you know, something feels icky and something doesn't feel right, and we know that we shouldn't be here. Something just tells us we shouldn't be here. But gosh, everybody's here that we normally hang out with, so we'll just stay and it'll probably be all right. You're going against what your nature is telling you. You're going against your own support system. And so if we choose to pay attention to those things and not comply just to go along, but actually make a choice, we gain our power. And you know, a big saying for years is take your power back, because we acknowledge that we have been coerced to give our power away. So now we need to take it back. How do we take it back? How? Well, we take it back by acknowledging where we're sending our power. Where is it? Well, in making choices is a big part of where our power goes, because our choices are amazingly powerful, and actually choices are the gears that move everything, whether it's my choice or whether it's someone else's choice. Now, one of the systems that is working against us is the authoritative system. So the authoritative system teaches us to not make any choices. Oh, no, don't choose that. Let some authority choose that. And then I have to, and you have to respond to that choice. We exist inside those choices. And that's not a good thing, because that person, if they are not aligned with their true nature, are going to make choices that affect you and me against our nature. So we absolutely don't want that. In order to get away from that, we must recognize that the authority figure system is incorrect. You are the authority on you, and I am the authority on me, and we cannot give that authority away. Now, we can seek advice. We can seek advice from anyone that we trust. anyone that we feel like might have more information on a subject than us. But that doesn't mean that we are indebted to take that advice at all. Just because a doctor tells you that you need chemotherapy doesn't mean that you take that advice. Yes, that we have been taught that they are the authority about us, about our bodies. But you actually are the authority of your body because you live in your body. And hopefully you're becoming more and more familiar with your body so you know what's going on with your body. That means that you're the authority and you take that choice seriously, and that brings your power back. If you have been trained to give your power to that authority, take it back and make a different choice. Make a choice in agreement and in alignment with your true nature. And that way you don't have to live out or exist or survive through another person's choice for you. It would be like going to a restaurant and the table next to you, you don't know them at all. You just walked in. But they're allowed to order your meal. And you have to eat it and you have to pay for it. That's insane. No one would do that. There is nobody that would do that. And yet we do that in so many areas of our lives. Almost all the areas of our lives, because of that trauma-based programming that we've all gone through, all human beings have gone through. And so we need to recognize it. We can't just know it's there and say we need to take our power back. We have to recognize it for what it is. It has to do with our choices, and take that choice back. Take the ability to make a choice and to live it through, and to learn from that choice, to understand what that learning means, what that knowledge means, and how to apply it later in similar experiences, and then how, when, where, why, and with whom to use that information and knowledge. That's wisdom. And that brings your power right back to you. I mean, I don't know if you know many wise people. I don't. But it certainly is amazing when you do meet a wise person. And mostly our elderly people are our wise people because they've lived more. They've made more choices. They weren't as programmed as we are today. They weren't as exhausted and living as long in the survival mode as we are today. And where are the wise people? They're being warehoused in elder centers, and they're being drugged, and they're being taped down to chairs so they won't walk away, and they're being taken care of, I say loosely and facetiously, by people who are not in alignment with their true nature, and so they're not functioning out of compassion and empathy. They're simply running on a program that says, if this happens, do this. And if this other thing happens, do that. Where is their thinking? Where is their empathy and their compassion? It isn't there most of the time. So our wise ones, the wisdom that we need is in these elders, and we need to respect them. Now, choices are so important, and understanding our connection to our true nature and to the natural order supports us in making wise, responsible choices. So that's what my message is right now. Let's come back to our true nature. Let's come back to the fact that we are in a natural order. There is a natural order to things. Look around and you'll see it. The seasons tell us that there is a natural order. The birth and the growing up, the maturing of any organic being, a cow, a little calf being birthed and growing, tells us of that natural order. And that's who we're connected to. Biological life. We feel so connected to these other systems that are not organic. They are not a part of us. And it makes us feel like we're not supported. So let's come back to the natural order and to our true nature so we can help this paradigm shift happen. And it will begin inside of me and inside of you. And we can actually begin to live our lives instead of surviving through it and existing through it. We can do it. and we need to make that shift now. The name of my show is Critical Mass, and there's a reason for that, because critical mass means we're at the point where we must make a decision. And we've got to make a decision to either stay where we are now, just stay the course where we are now, which is mostly allowing other systems and other authority figures to make our choices for us, and then we have to dance as fast as we can to comply with those things. Or we can do the other thing, which is make our own choices and do something different. And that means going against all the systems that are set up and taking back our power from the authority figures and the systems that say, well, you can't possibly know that. You're not trained in that area. Well, we can do it. So Critical Mass is the name of my show. And today we're on United We Strike Radio Marathon. I also have a show on puremomentum.net, and it's called Critical Mass. And we have other hosts that cover other areas there. So I would invite you to come see our puremomentum.net network and get some more information there as we work together to make this paradigm shift. So until next month, please look at yourself as part of the natural order and come back to your true nature. So till next time, love yourself and be human. That's all I ask, is be human. And boy, isn't that something if we could all be human. Bye for now. Critical Mass.
You're listening to UnitedWeStrike.com radio. Don't buy, don't comply. Ask why. UnitedWeStrike.com radio.